If food is eating at your paycheck, we're going to show you how to let it take a little bit less of a bite out of your paycheck. Hello and welcome to the Happy Money Podcast. We are your hosts, Gino and Michael Barbaro, co-founders of Barbaro 360. And on today's show, we're going to have a little bit of fun, Mike, right?
It's funny. I was thinking about, this is primarily a finance podcast, but then I realized, one of the biggest parts of our day is food, right? So I'm going to share a quick story with you. When I was in college, I was living downtown in St. Augustine, and one of the peak of my day was, you finish class and you're ready to have dinner, only to realize it's like 6:30 or 7 o'clock. And I'm like, I don't want to cook, so I'm going to go get takeout. Before you know it, I go on my computer, I go on DoorDash, and I see this big old chunk of $35, $40 for a meal because, it's all the convenience fees and taxes and whatnot and all they jack up the prices as well. And so I had to make a decision. I had to say to myself, am I going to budget out this time that I know I need to cook, or am I going to take a bite and say, you know what, $40 is okay tonight? And so that was kind of an annoying decision I had to make, but I realized that a lot of people are falling into the same habits, and those numbers add up after a while, right? And so today I want to talk about, let's talk about some alternatives.
Okay. What I would say, the thing that really hits me home when I hear this topic for me, we wrote the book Happy Money, Happy Family, Happy Legacy. And when I think about what you're talking about, we want to create happy money moments. I'm not here to say don't get that DoorDash every now and again, right? Because you want to be able to use your money happily. If that brings joy to you, every now and again is fine. But what you're talking about, at a certain point, it takes over your habits, and then all of a sudden you're inundated with these bills and you can't keep up, and all of a sudden you think your paycheck is here, and half your paycheck is gone just from takeout food.
Absolutely. And this is also what I kind of had to learn is, number one, when you go to these places, especially places like fast food, and we're going to talk about this later too, but a lot of these places are, number one, not healthy for you. And so that really messes up your ability to perform in this world. Mm-hmm. When it comes to making money, when it comes to doing your job, when it comes to exercising, putting too much of this stuff in your body is going to mess you over, right? Mm-hmm. And it's more difficult to create that happy money we're talking about, right? And number two, it's, like I said, significantly more expensive. Fast food used to be this thing where you stop in McDonald's for, 15 minutes or less, and you spend $6, $7, $8 on it, right? Mm. Now you go to a fast food place and they charge you $15, $20 for what?
I remember the first time we were up in New York and I went to a Panera. And I walk in there and I'm like, this place is pretty cool. But to your point, went up to the counter, there's 8 of us, 6 kids and me and Joel, and we proceed to get lunch. And I was pretty horrified by the bill. Now, the food tasted great. But once again, to your point as well, Panera looks healthy, but how healthy is it? The bread is delicious, but you know what they're putting in the bread? Everything has sugar in it. That's why it tastes good. And you're paying for all of that. And I remember leaving the place and going, I like this cool place. Go out and grab a salad every now and again, make it a treat. But if I'm eating that 2 or 3 times a week, you got to be careful. Not only the money, but like you said, the ingredients aren't the greatest.
No, but it's unfortunate too, because again, we've kind of created this society where fast food became the norm. Somebody noticed that, and they decided to jack up the prices because they know we're still going to pay for it because it's convenience. That's the only way Uber Eats and DoorDash make their money, because they know they can charge $40 for a dinner, and if they know they can charge it, and they're going to do it because we're still paying for it.
There's 3 steps to financial freedom. You start off by cooking your own food. The second step is you hire somebody to cook your food. And the third step,
best step of all,
is you go back to cooking your own food. And it's really interesting. You're the hustle, you're the grind, you're just starting out. You don't have money to pay anybody else. You're really focused in. I'm going to do all the work. I'm going to cook my food. I'm going to try to do the cheapest way possible. Then you start making some money and you get sort of brainwashed into thinking that, hey, I can outsource that. And we're going to talk about the different outsource methods, whether it's places that do prep meals, whether it's getting DoorDash, whatever it looks like, whether you're outsourcing it. And you think you're saving time, you're saving money, and it's more efficient. And then you realize the third step, just go back to cooking your own food. And it's really interesting. We had been using a prep service for a little while. And the food was absolutely okay. It was good the first couple times. But then after that, it got to be boring. And to your point, it wasn't any cheaper if I went out and I learned how to make the ingredients myself. And Michael, before I volley it back to you, this is important. Once again, if you like to cook and you enjoy that, I mean, one of our daughters loves to cook. Even it may be more efficient and she may save time and money by outsourcing it. Do you want to outsource it? Is that something that you'd rather do yourself, even though it may not be the most efficient way or efficient use of your time? If you enjoy doing it, just continue to do it. Enjoy it.
And it's important too, because I think everyone should know how to cook to some degree. That's a huge skill that we've forgotten how to do. And so the people that are outsourcing things like DoorDash and meal prep do not know how to cook. And so that becomes the first question of what does it look like to learn how to cook? And there's a whole bunch of things going, I can't learn this, I can't learn that. Listen, every single YouTube channel in the world that has cooking can teach you how to cook. It's very simple. If a guy like me can learn how to cook, anyone can cook.
So where would you start off when you learn how to cook? Let's say you had no idea, your parents never even taught you to, boil a pot of water. Where would you start?
The first thing is, what do you find yourself eating the most? What do you like to eat? Go from there. Because if you can figure out what you like to eat, you're going to have some level of motivation to some degree, right? If you tell me I'm a vegetarian, okay, it's like, okay, maybe don't learn how to cook meat, that kind of thing, right? It's kind of like that in a sense, right? You don't need to learn how to cook that because you're never going to eat it, right?
Yes.
So again, it's like, what do you like to eat? Go from there.
So for me, as a former quote-unquote chef, I can jump into this. And I always tell people, cooking in any skill is similar to money. You need to build a foundation before you can start cooking lobster bisque and all that.
Yeah.
It's important. And the foundation of cooking, it comes down to the sauces and the soups and the stocks. Now, it's really cool because nowadays you can buy chicken stock in a box, and it's excellent. It's organic. Yeah. You can use that to start making your soups. Anybody that wants to know a marinara sauce, just go to Barbaro 360. You'll see it on our website. Marinara sauce is just basically a simple sauce that you can make with crushed tomatoes, and it goes with any kind of pasta. It goes with any kind of rice. But if your sauces taste good, that's the basis. That's the foundation for your cooking. Learn how to cook those. And once you start cooking those, you can start, as you say, trying out and sampling different things that you like. I mean, how hard can it be to learn how to scramble a couple of eggs in the morning?
Exactly.
And start off with that. You go to the diner, it's $20
At least.
for eggs and bacon. I mean, it's $6 for a dozen of organic eggs. You can make breakfast all week for $10. If you go to the diner all week, you're into it for over $200. It's like 20x what it costs. And on top of that, a cup of coffee in the morning when you make a really good cup of coffee, and I know because my wife spends a ton of money on coffee. We don't buy the cheap beans, but I could absolutely see myself going out and getting a cup of coffee for $4. And what does it cost you at home? Does it cost you 50 cents at home? And it tastes better at home. And you know that you're putting in organic half and half, and you're not putting any sugar in it, and the coffee is superior.
I've said this for years. I actually did a PowerPoint presentation on Breville. I was doing a whole financial analysis, and half the time in that presentation, I'm hitting the screen being like, guys, I can make better coffee with this machine than all these people around town. And everyone's like, no, you can't. I'm like, watch me.
But that's really cool what you said about that. You are so passionate about the coffee and about it. I mean, it's incredible. You have a $200 machine, and I'm like, I even said to myself, I said, there's no way he's going to make a cup of coffee that's as good as a cup of coffee in Italy. It's incredible, the coffee you make. What's the machine called that you use?
That's the Caffè Toraldo.
Caffè Toraldo. Toraldo. I mean, I am not joking. You made it the first time, and it was like so much. If you're on YouTube, it is literally like an inch long. It like put hair on my chest as I drank it. It was so strong, but it was incredible. So I said, Michael, make it a little bit longer for me. I want a little bit long, and I'm telling you, I'm not joking. It's as if I was sitting in my mom's hometown in L'Aquila in Italy, having a cup of coffee at the coffee shop. It was that good for $200. Meanwhile, you go to Starbucks here, you pay $3.50 for a single espresso, and it tastes like water, and it's crap.
Highway robbery. It's highway robbery with them, I'm telling you.
And it's crap. So let's go into some of the ways people can start saving. You know, as far as your idea with, I think, how to learn how to cook, start cooking things you like. And start going on YouTube, real short, and start looking at certain strategies or certain ways to prepare certain foods, right? That's important. Start talking about the sauces. Like I said, the chicken soup, the marinara sauce. You have certain sauces that you can learn how to prepare. You keep them cold, and when you need them, you can pull them out.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's important to, like I said, schedule out that time, because if you know you've got some nights later on in the future where you can't prepare dinner or lunch at these times, okay, maybe it's a good idea to think ahead on Sunday or Monday. How can I prepare this? That's what I used to do in school, actually, when I realized that DoorDash is just costing me, $100 extra a week. I'm like, okay, so I got to prepare this. So I would go to the store, buy ground beef, and I would cook that, and then I'd eat that throughout the next few days. And then I get something else and rinse and repeat, right? Mm-hmm. So it's this idea of how do I prepare myself for this so that I'm not in the position to need DoorDash. Mm-hmm. And it's going to get boring. It does get boring after a while, kind of having the same thing. But that's where we got to make that decision, which is, do I want to be a little boring today, or do I want to save $40 a meal? It's significantly different. You're spending $4 on dinner making it at home. There's no way that I should ever be spending $40 regularly on DoorDash or Uber Eats or any of these guys.
And it's interesting. Nowadays, it's so much easier because you don't have to go to the store to shop. Whole Foods basically delivers everywhere. So if you know you're going to be planning for the week, you can literally go buy stuff from Whole Foods. And be careful when you go into Whole Foods, because it's the same thing. You think it's organic, you think they have great products and great quality. They do, but a lot of their ingredients, they use a lot of sugar. There's a lot of ingredients in their prepackaged
in Whole Foods.
Whole Foods, yeah. So you get stuff that's prepackaged, and it's expensive. It's, once again, you're getting DoorDash prices. Something that's prepared there can cost you $15 or $20, but if you learn how to prepare it at home, it can cost you $5. But the point that I was trying to make is, literally, you can order your groceries for the week, and they'll deliver them to your house for the week.
Is Whole Foods, actually, I'm going to ask this, is Whole Foods delivery free now? What do they do? It's $10 a month. That's not bad.
$10 a month.
Or $10 per order.
If you don't do the membership, that makes sense. Okay.
Okay, so you have Whole Foods. We were at one point using Walmart because they have some really good organic stuff at Walmart.
That's right.
You can get stuff delivered from Kroger's. We were getting stuff from Kroger's at a point in time, and it saves you time. But the important thing, this is another point, Mike, that I have to make, is you have to be careful on what you buy, because whatever you buy, whatever's in the pantry, when you have those moments of crisis, of weakness, and you're starving and you don't feel like preparing something, you're going to go into the pantry and you're going to eat whatever's in there. So be careful of what you put in the pantry, and be careful what you leave out on the counter. Leave fresh fruit on the counter. It's much healthier for you, and when you see an apple on the counter, you're more likely to eat
You're
it.
gonna eat the
Or if you
apple.
see the chocolate chip cookie,
Yeah.
you're going to eat the cookie or the apple. It sounds so simple and so basic, and it's so foundationally hard for our family because we have young kids still, and this is like the fight that I've been having for the last 20 years. I'm trying to have healthier food in there, but it's not fair to the kids because they should be able to enjoy a lot of the snacks. But if you're living by yourself and there's only one or two of you, you can control your environment. And I think if you can control the environment and the stuff that you put in your environment with the food and having it out there, you can choose to whatever you want to eat.
I think that's great. Let's get into now the three kind of framework that we need to combat this problem. The first thing is, we said, meal planning. So let's make it a little bit less complicated. Let's start by saying, okay, let's take 2 or 3 days out of the week, or a day out of the week, and say, for the next 3 days, this is what dinner looks like for us. And so we already know going ahead. We don't have to guess in the moment, what do I got to make now? We know what we're getting into. We're going to make, we're going to go buy steaks in bulk, cut them up, cook them, eat them throughout the week. So we kind of have that planning already going. The second thing is, obviously, with meal planning, bulk cooking is a huge thing. That's something we do, right? We make a lot of food all at once, goes in the fridge. I see Mom laughing over there because she knows exactly what I'm talking about.
It doesn't really go in the fridge. It doesn't get a chance to go in the fridge.
It doesn't get a chance. I mean, yeah, we're going to get into that too.
But bulk cooking's right. Keep going.
Yeah, that's great, because then you can start to realize, hey, if I make a lot, I can freeze it, I can put it in the fridge, and I can get that ready for the next days.
Yes.
And then the third thing is my favorite, is making sure that there's a time management there. Because a lot of times, and I struggle with this too, it's 6:30, 7 o'clock, and I'm looking at Instagram, I'm like, oh shoot, I don't have any time to cook now, and now I got to get DoorDash. Okay, that was on me, because I sabotaged myself, and I said, you know what, I don't have time, but I did have time. And so that's the first step, is acknowledging, did I really have time in the first place? And then going forward with this idea of, I do have time, how do I use it properly?
There's one thing that you can do right now, if you're listening, to combat the DoorDash and the Uber Eats and to try to get rid of that habit. My business partner does not have any apps on his phone, Instagram, Facebook, because it's so tempting. He removed them. If you're having problems with these apps, remove them from the phone so you don't have that option. So then all of a sudden it becomes 6:30 and you're like, oh, I can't order DoorDash because I don't have it on my. So then you'll start planning. So then it won't be 6:30 and you're still scrolling. It'll be 6 o'clock and you'll be preparing.
Ready.
This is how you proactive in life. Really, this is what you need to do if you want to combat the situation. And what I would do is I would also do a time blocking sheet for yourself. Just take the next 7 days and see how you're spending every hour of the day. Now, that may be challenging for a lot of people. And a lot of people are going to say to you, oh, well, I am busy. I don't have any time. Once you do the time blocking and you figure out where your time is going, you will be horrified by how much time you waste. I did this when we were in New York, Mike, and we had the restaurant. I was working and I was doing real estate at the same time, and I had 6 kids. And I still had a lot of leaks in my time blocking. I was still surprised at how many hours in the day that I was wasting. So if to me, one of your core habits, one of your values is to be healthy and to eat good food, you need to find time throughout the day to plan for that.
There's a trade-off, eating healthy or eating convenient, right? There's a huge trade-off. And it just comes down to, I want us to take a look on our life. If we have had a time where we've eaten conveniently versus eating healthy, what did the quality of that life look like? And if there's no experience of that, okay, maybe this is the time to take a couple weeks and say, let me eat healthy and see how I feel, see how I operate. And if there's a significant difference, what does it look like making that switch over?
And Michael, the second step you can do, let's say the third step, because the first one would be the time blocking. That's the second. The third step would be to start tracking how much you're spending on these apps, on DoorDash, and see how much it costs you. And then that will also incentivize or motivate you to say, wow, I'm spending how much a month on that? And then see how much you're saving versus doing what you've just said over the last 20 minutes. And that will be a motivator. That will change, right? The goal is to save money, but you need to build the system or the process. And this is how you're building the system or the process, is to figure out how much is actually leaking from your budget going towards the stuff that's going out versus you preparing it yourself.
And even to add on that, we say saving money, but let's also talk about putting money somewhere else, not even just in savings. How can I use the extra money that I'm saving to further increase the quality of my life? And so that could even be putting money towards investing, putting money towards gym memberships and all the workout kind of stuff. And so how can we use that to further improve the quality of our life?
I love that. What I would say, the last recommendation that I would give is, if you're going to go out and find a restaurant in your neighborhood, in your town that is healthy. There's several restaurants here in St. Augustine that create really great food, farm to table. It may cost a little bit more. You may be able only to afford it to go out once a month. I'd rather go out to a great restaurant once a month than go out every week and have crappy food. Mom and I went out last night, went out to a great restaurant in St. Augustine. Was it expensive? Absolutely. Was the food phenomenal? One of the best restaurants in town. Now, we won't go every week, but it's a treat kind of place. But that's what I want people to do. Really look for quality. Remember, price versus value. I'd rather pay a little bit more, but I'm getting a lot more value, and my body is going to thank me for it.
That's great. And it's funny you mentioned that. That's what eating out is meant to be. It's a treat.
Yes.
It's not a habit. It's supposed to be this thing that, hey, I had a great week. I'm going to go out and treat myself. I had a great month. I'm going to go out to this great place. That's what it's meant to be. It's not meant to be this place where you go to just because, it's 7 o'clock and I don't have anything. It's like, okay, let's figure out what that looks like going forward.
Mm-hmm.
So the challenge that I want people to do is let's take this upon ourselves to learn how to cook just one meal, something that you do enjoy, going out to eat or whatever. Let's learn how to cook that one thing at home through some sort of cookbook, because there's plenty of those online. There's plenty of articles online. There's plenty of videos online. It just comes down to typing in, how do I cook XYZ, enter, and click that video and watch it. That's all it takes.
I love that. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Thanks for tuning into the Happy Money Podcast. We are Gino and Michael Barbaro of Barbaro 360, and we'll see you on next week's show.